Light No Fire is the next super ambitious project from Hello Games, and it's primed to have the single largest persistent open world that's ever been achieved in gaming history. A game that's so unbelievably staggering in size that it's very hard to even wrap your head around exactly what Sean Murray and the team are building here. From the moment Sean stepped on stage at the Game Awards and announced that their next game involved them creating the first ever literal open world, a boundaryless, bigger than Earth-sized open world, mind you, ever since that moment, the rest of the Game Awards was just a blur. I instantly forgot about the best dance routine ever, the weird Muppet skit that Jeff Keighley continues to include every year, whatever nonsense Mr. Kojima is cooking up, and Kratos throwing shade at Call of Duty. All of that out the window. Couldn't care less anymore. My entire night was spent replaying the Light No Fire trailer and trying to imagine just exactly what this big of an open world would look and feel like. Bigger than Earth isn't just something you say to build unrealistic hype. Earth is very specific to our planet. Imagining an open world game that's literally larger than our real life planet is something that I think is going over a lot of people's heads. There's so many open world games out there. We're all used to large, sprawling worlds that you can walk and explore across for hours and hours with tons to do and see. The typical open world trope of, if you can see it, you can go to it, has expanded from just seeing buildings in the distance that you can reach and go inside of, to mountains in the distance that you can climb, then to star systems that you can see and fly to. Open worlds have grown substantially over the years to the point where I think we start taking the size of these open worlds for granted. Light No Fire supposedly has an open world on a scale that's larger than our Earth, with climbable mountains that are taller than Mount Everest. These are quotes from Sean Murray. They're taking the varied universe of No Man's Sky and bringing all of it together into a single landmass with no boundaries on a scale that's never been attempted before. What exactly does this mean in terms of size? That's the question. Back before No Man's Sky was out, it was hard to understand just how many planets were in the game. 18 quintillion was the number that was being thrown around everywhere, but it wasn't until people started comparing that number to real-life things for us to truly grasp what that number looks like. I did a video back then when I was covering No Man's Sky almost every day, where we went over different numbers and values to really give the sense of scale of No Man's Sky and its explorable planets. No Man's Sky has more planets than the estimated amount of grains of sand on the Earth. It's also estimated that there's 3.5 trillion fish on the Earth. A single quintillion is a million trillion, and No Man's Sky's got 18 of them. We could keep going on, but I'm not going to bore you with the math. You get the point. These real-life comparisons make it much easier to understand the scale. So let me hit you with some other numbers so you can begin to grasp what we're talking about with the absolute giganticness that will be Light No Fire. Video game open worlds are typically measured in the unit square mile or square kilometer, so let's roll through some popular games that you may have likely played that have a single open world and grab their measurements. That way you can get an idea of what we're looking at based on experience if you have indeed played some of these games. Games like Starfield and No Man's Sky are obviously ruled out because they aren't single open worlds like Light No Fire will be, and since I'm in the stubborn US and we don't use the metric system like the rest of the world, these will be in square miles. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt clocks in at almost 21 square miles. Dragon Age Inquisition is almost double that at 45. Final Fantasy XI is also double that at 70 square miles. World of Warcraft is at 80. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is almost 100 square miles, and I spent like 400 hours exploring that game. The MMO Black Desert Online is sitting at 154. Death Stranding is around 230. We got a small jump here with Final Fantasy 15 at 700 square miles. The Crew, a racing game, is at 1900 square miles. Another tiny jump with Lord of the Rings Online, sitting at a measly 30,000 square miles. And then the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall at 62,000 square miles. Okay, so hopefully you got an idea of scale based on one of these games. Light No Fire aims to be larger than Earth. Earth is 197 million square miles. Earth is roughly equal to 9 million Witcher 3s, 4 million Dragon Age Inquisitions, 2.8 million Final Fantasy XIs, 2.4 million World of Warcrafts, 2 million Assassin's Creed Odysseys, 1.2 million Black Desert Onlines, 856,000 Death Strandings, 281,000 Final Fantasy 15s, 103,000 The Crews, 6,500 Lord of the Rings Onlines, and 3,000 Daggerfalls. Here's some other numbers. Mount Everest is 5.5 miles tall. There will be taller mountains than that in Light No Fire. Challenger Deep, the deepest part of the ocean, is 6.8 miles deep. It's safe to assume Light No Fire will have deeper oceans if everything else is true. Nobody is prepared for the size of this world. Just a few months ago, Dirt the Gamer decided to walk around an entire planet in No Man's Sky doing only that, walking. 25 hours later, he completed his journey. He better prep a backpack and some extra snacks for the trek around Light No Fire's planet, which will take more than 8,300 hours or 346 days, which is the estimated time it would take to walk around Earth. Best of luck, Dirt the Gamer. In Light No Fire, forests will be the size of forests, oceans the size of oceans, mountains the literal size of literal mountains, varied biomes, each stretching as far as the eye can see, just like IRL. This will be absolutely crazy if Hello Games indeed pulls this off. Now, a larger than Earth-sized open world, it sounds great, but if this procedurally generated world is truly a multiplayer Earth where everyone coincides, where you can meet players from across the globe, how long will it really take to explore and discover everything? All of what I just said, by the way, about multiplayer and the Earth, it's on their Steam page or came out of Sean Murray's mouth. How long would it really take for the potential millions of players to explore everything? If there were millions of us on our Earth and we could endlessly explore without having to worry about, dying, and had mystical dragons that could fly us around to wherever we want to go, would it really take that long to explore the world? I'm not smart enough to answer that question, so let me know what you think in the comments. What I do know is that when it came to figuring out the chances of running into another player in No Man's Sky, it was basically mathematically impossible. Like, the chances were so low, Sean Murray said it would literally never happen, and yet on day one, it happened. So whatever math or calculations we try to make when it comes to the time it would take to explore all of Light No Fire, or the time it would take to randomly find another player in the game even, it seems to not really matter. We won't truly know until the game is in our hands or until Sean decides to actually spill the beans on some more information that's hopefully less vague than the information we already have. We haven't even started to talk about whether or not it'll be worth it to explore this big of an open world. What is there to do? What is there to find? And what are the possibilities? Is it worth exploring? We know it's a sandbox survival game, so we can assume a few things based on the vast amount of games that exist within the genre, but we don't really know right now. We don't know anything besides the few things we see in the trailer, like crafting, building, combat, the usual mechanics of these games. All we can really do is speculate until we get more information, which is something I'll probably make videos on in the future, speculating on what we might see in the game based on the things we do see in other sandbox survival games, as well as what we've seen Hello Games add to No Man's Sky, as I personally think the two will be very similar, besides the fact that one is sci-fi and the other is more fantasy. But one thing is for certain, Light No Fire is positioned to have the largest, boundaryless, single open world ever in video game history, and I can't wait to explore it. Also, ignore the scale of Minecraft, I'm not counting that.